He's now a full-time permanent superintendent.
The Dan Yorke State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
Thanks for tuning in. Great to have you aboard. Our main focus this evening is to talk to the not new, but now permanent superintendent in the city of Providence Schools. Dr. Javier Montañez has been made a permanent fixture, and of course, permanency in the world of superintendency is a tenuous situation. The average superintendent stays only a few years, and many folks would say that's part of the challenge, right, of continuity in education. But in this particular case, we have a veteran of the Providence school systems who has, rather than shipping in, has institutional knowledge and a real grip, reportedly, on what the system has been through and what the system needs. So we're going to spend our exclusive time on that conversation this evening. In the meantime, before we meet our guest, here's what WPRI 12 reported on the decision.
Providence Public Schools has a new leader. Dr. Javier Montañez was named permanent superintendent after taking over as acting and then interim superintendent last year when Harrison Peters left amid a hiring scandal.
When I was asked, will I be willing to continue in this position without even thinking about it, I said absolutely, because this is about our kids.
Montañez welcomed at Tuesday's Council on Elementary and Secondary Education meeting with applause. Commissioner Angelica Infante Green said stability for the district is key right now, citing the pandemic for why a search never took place, and saying to the council she did consult parents, though those meetings were not public.
We were in a pandemic, right? And what we needed to do was stabilize the district. We already had one disruption, and Javier has risen to the occasion. Why would we look for someone else when we have someone that's doing the job and doing it well for us right now?
So there you have it. It seems simple, but there's been some turbulence regarding this. And you know what? In the city of Providence and with the school systems, there's always turbulence. So let's bring our guest on. And for tonight, for the first time, at least out of our studio, we're using our Zoom system here. So the superintendent has a busy schedule and just was able to knock out the commute time to the East Providence studios. Dr. Montañez, congratulations on your new gig.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You know, before we get into the nitty-gritties here, and there's so much nitty-gritty, give everybody your verbal resume. Talk to me a little bit about your experience, both in the system and beyond, and kind of a little getting to know you for everybody.
So basically, I was a student in Providence, and because of a teacher in high school, actually took me under his wings. And I think when he paid it forward to me, which his name is Mr. Ralph Coley, ever since that, my goal has always been to pay it forward back to my community and serve my community. So becoming a teacher in Providence as a second grade bilingual teacher, then rose to the ranks to elementary assistant principal, elementary high school elementary principal, high school principal, and then actually came back down to the elementary school principal. And now I sit in front of you as the superintendent in Providence, and there's no greater feeling in the world giving back to the community that has given me all that I have and made me the man who I am.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's an incredible ride that you have had. I would think that most superintendents also rise to the educational ranks. I've had some experience in my day as a volunteer one day years ago, having interviewed superintendents for a position in another community. And it was interesting to me to see what the different backgrounds were and what the experiences were and what the expertise was. And not every superintendent is carved from the same model, and clearly yours is a unique one and perhaps a one for the time here in the city of Providence. But tell me, as you're moving up through the rank and file, so to speak, right? And learning the ropes when it comes to administration and the like. Is there a training model to become a superintendent, or are you flying by the seat of your educated pants here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. No, well, first, keep in mind that I did my doctorate in educational leadership at Johnson & Wales University. So that's a training in its own, and the PD. But what's great about being in this position and working as a team member in this one team, and the support and the work that I'm doing, not only at PPSD, but doing it with RI, standing right by my side as we continue to move the district forward. There's great things happening here, and able to have that support system, it's fabulous. It's fabulous.
So tell me about the doctorate that you earned. Was it in the interest of becoming a principal, becoming a superintendent? Was that always your goal?
No, actually, I was already a principal before I did my doctorate. During my years as a building administrator, I attended Johnson & Wales University, and it's in educational leadership, in addition to superintendent certifications as well.
Gotcha. All right. So that's a good resume. Look, the union was bullish on this hire. In fact, well, we'll talk about the full-time aspect of it in a moment, but when you came on as interim, it seemed like a big sigh of relief from the union. So the intimacy that they felt with you was a plus. Talk to me about that.
Well, keep in mind that I've been in the system almost 3 decades, and I had my share of working with the union as a teacher, because I was part of the teachers union as a teacher, but also as an administrator, and working with them hand in hand. What I can control is the bridges that I make, the relationships that I build, and I take pride in my community and working with individuals. If we can get everyone on the same playing field and work towards the same goal, you will always hear that my nucleus is student first. I will do anything I can and everything I can to make sure that our students receive a high quality education, and working across boards. That is just who I am.
What do you think it was, though, when you were named interim superintendent, that the union felt most comfortable with?
Probably because I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but probably is because I am this district. I am this community. I am from the community of teaching as well, and knowing the years of work that I've done with them. With the PTU, and continue to do. My team meets with PTU as well and continue to work, and that means that we have to work together. At the end of the day, it's about working together and making sure that we're moving forward to make sure that our students, once again, so we student center, that they have the high quality education that they need and deserve.
This concept of working together is something that everybody wants to do in every organization everywhere. It's one of those things that conceptually I think is sound and makes sense to people, but ends up becoming somewhat cliche in the sense that, well, when things bust up, folks will point to the idea that we couldn't work together. But the idea of working together is an interesting one. I've always worried. Listen, I think this Providence Teachers Union specifically deserves a world of credit in terms of the challenges that COVID has brung. Right, the deal that the governor made for the union, which was in part a thank you and began his bonus idea. Not only was it fiscally smart, I think, for him to exclude some compensation increases outside the percentage burden for the taxpayers. But in a way, it was a thank you for your work. The city schools are very different than the suburban and rural schools, as we know. And it seemed like, at least with the Providence Teacher Union and perhaps the AFT and the NEA in general across the state, when COVID hit, it was all hands on deck. There was a lot less, in crisis mode, there's a lot less posturing and all of that. So I give them a world of credit. The one thing that always concerns me is that the union contract tends to literally write for you how to go to the bathroom. And so the idea of working together always seems to need to be prescribed rather than freelanced. Does that make any sense to you? And do you agree with me? And how do you approach that concept of working together, given all those considerations?
Let's look at the history. When you look at the history of PTU working with contractors, whatever the issue may be, I believe that working together and hearing each other out, knowing what we need to move forward, I'm sure that we will be able to work it out and find the happy medium, where the contract it's important for teachers as well, but just to understand that, at the end of the day, is how is that contract put together to make sure that it affects, once again, I'm always going back to my nucleus, how does the contract affect teaching and learning? At the end of the day, it's about learning and moving our students and making sure our students are successful. So
give me an example real quick of how something came together that perhaps would not have happened in the past. What's a tangible example of working together with the teacher groups?
So just when I first started, and this is something that it's really important to me. When I first started, the back in person, that was one of the major things, making sure that we were the first district to make sure that our students were back in person, because we know that students learn best when they're in the building. So that was working with the PTU. But also one of the things that I remember early on when I took over this position, we was having a little situation where there was end of the year, there was going to be multiple absences on a particular day. And I was able to pick up the phone and work with the PTU and ask what we can do together to make sure that we don't have a high absenteeism as far as adults. And we was able to work that out, and it worked fabulous. And this is what when I speak about building relationships and building those bridges and working with one another.
Right.
That's a prime example of how we work together, making sure that we're all doing what's right for our students.
All right, makes sense. We're going to pause here, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the kids themselves and, of course, masking and getting over this COVID thing. Stay with us with the now full-time superintendent of schools in Providence. Another headline regarding the full-time status of Dr. Javier Montañez. Doctor, appreciate the time here this evening as we focus completely on the conversation regarding the Providence schools. I wish I had 5 hours, and it's supposed to 22 minutes of running time on a half-an-hour show. Tell me about the mask situation. I was concerned when the governor lifted the mask mandate that Providence and Central Falls were left behind. The commissioner, of course, left the conversation about vaccinations as the problem, the low vaccination rate. I will tell you, though, I get very concerned, and listen, I'm very bullish on the commissioner, and certainly there was no intent for bias or discrimination here, but one of the things that I worry about, or did worry about at least, was, we have a Johns Hopkins report, which I'd love to talk to you about as well, that tells us there's all sorts of inequities. And if masking is a deterrent to good learning, which I think we know is, and the city schools are left on the mask, we already have a differential this big. We don't need a differential that big, right? So talk to me about how you guys moved from vaccination to another criteria real quick, and tell me how it's going.
So let's keep in mind that Providence was hit really hard with the COVID.
Yeah.
I experienced that firsthand. I was a principal, and I saw how it affected workers, how it affected students and their families, and the loss of family members due to that. But also keeping in mind that where we were just a few months ago, we was having, when on the height of this, we was having 100 to 195 cases per day. Now we're down to maybe 5 cases, less than 10 per day, if we have any of those. Some days we have 0. But it was a combination of data that I had to collect. One was really important, having communication with the community itself, having communications with experts in the health field, to making sure that we monitor the cases closely as they engage.
Let me bump in and ask you about that, because I do want to shorten this up, because I want to get to some other things. I think we're so COVID focused that we can go on all day about it. There was this sense, I think the commissioner had, that parents in the city wanted to keep the masks on because of the high infection rate. But then we have this seemingly either identified or shift, like an identified other opinion or a shift to that opinion, which is, hey, this is not an equal thing. Long story short, you feel satisfied, that the community is satisfied that this is the right thing to do, and there's hardly any looking back, even though you warned if rates rise again, maybe we go back to, I don't know, Doc. Going back is going to be a hard thing to do, don't you think?
So I'll, because I want to keep it short for you
Sure.
as well. So I made sure that there was a survey that went out to get the community involvement, a community voice, because it's extremely important for me to have community engagement. And we set out a survey, and there was 4,000 individuals who answered the survey. Of those 4,000, almost 3,000 completed the survey. Of the 3,000, 70% were for option in masking. There was about 25% who still wanted to make sure that the mask stayed on. And there was a 5% that can go either way. So that's also data that I collected to make sure that we're making the right decisions for our students, looking at that, looking at where we are now versus where we were before. There's been about an 8% increase from 32% fully vaccinated to about 40% fully vaccinated and 45% partially vaccinated. And then we look at the daily rate, how many cases we're getting per day, which was about less than 10. So all that data together helped make the decision. We hear the community, we listen to the community. I think it's really important that part of communication, first part is always listening. And I want to make sure that my community and my students' voices are being heard.
Well, listen, kudos to you on that. I will tell you this: all your doctoral work and all your prep work for this didn't prepare you for COVID. That's the thing. Educators are on the fly. I mean, listen to you talk. Well, I checked this out and I checked this out. This is all COVID-related type of stuff, which is on-the-job training of sorts. But you seem to, you keep referring to I checked and I checked and I checked, and that I think is reassuring to the viewer who is wondering whether or not we have autonomy in the superintendency position. So before we get to our last segment and talk about the kids for a moment, and we should be talking about the kids completely, clear up for me how you feel about your own autonomy with the school takeover here, the state taking over, and the commissioner and the governor having a real interest in all of this. How much of this gig is yours, and how much is that which you have to get approved?
So if you know anything about me, it's very rare when you will hear me say, I did this. It's always a we. It's never a me. It's important for people to understand that in order to turn this district around, it suffered for almost, like I said, 3 decades. It's important that we work as a team, a team pushing towards one goal, which is student success, and making sure that continues, and we continue to move forward, looking at the TAP, which was created by the community for the community.
Sure.
So it's extremely important that everyone knows that it's a we. It's never me.
Understood that, but what I'm asking is, who's calling the shots? Angelica Infante Green or you? That's the question.
Oh no, it's a combination. I make calls, but I definitely sit down with the commission, and it's a team effort to make sure that we're always on common ground. So it's not to me, it's not a autonomy of pull and push. It's about working together to get to the core, which is student success.
All right, makes sense. When we come back, you said something recently about kids that I want to get a little bit from. Back with the new superintendent, the full-time superintendent, in a moment.
Our kids can't afford to go another day, another month, another decade of being neglected. This is the reason why, when I was asked, will I be willing to continue in this position without even thinking about it, I said absolutely.
Your discussion of the children being neglected, wouldn't you know it, I save a 2-minute segment for a conversation that is incredibly important. What do you mean by the children being neglected? Did we lose We'll just double check.
I'm sorry,
We have you now.
Dan Yorke. I'm coming in very low. I can't really hear you.
Okay, so and I apologize to the viewers because we're running on Zoom here. We just ran a piece that talked about you thinking that children have been neglected. I only have a minute now, and I apologize. Can you just expand for a short moment on what you meant by that?
Well, first of all, let's look at the facilities that we want our students to go into and learn. They were not up to par. They were not up to par years ago.
Still aren't.
3 decades. So
Still
that was
aren't,
that
right?
was. I'm sorry.
Still aren't.
No, and that's why that's a lot of effort being put into making sure that buildings are being built like new. A lot of projects are happening in some buildings. Most buildings will be touched, and there are some new buildings that will be going up. So we want to make sure that we have 21st century buildings that's going to support student learning, where students take pride in their school and want to come to a school because they can see that they're important. When you invest in the buildings, you're investing in the students and creating spaces for education. That's the first thing. We also look at making sure that the students have a unified curriculum. There was multiple curriculums where one child will go from one school to another school, and we have to start all over because it's a different program. So we have unified curriculum at every school. So if this does happen, we continue to pick up exactly where the student was. We have the data. So there's a lot of great things happening in Providence, making sure that we're putting systems into place, efficient systems, to make sure that we're working to get the greatest bang for our buck when it comes to educating our students. Right. So we have to be very wise and intelligent in the decisions that we're making as we continue to create these learning spaces.
All right, good. There's so much more that we'd like to discuss. Hopefully you'll accept an invitation to come back and to participate on the radio as well. But once again, congratulations on your full-time superintendency.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to reach out to the community. I want to make sure that I always leave my community knowing that I work for them. I'm here. I will do whatever it takes to make sure we reach our goal.
Dr. Javier Montañez, thank you very much. Final word and we can back. Stay with us. No doubt that Dr. Montañez has a lot on his plate, and as the school year rolls out, he will have many notes to begin the next school year on all thrusters. In the meantime, patience is a virtue in education, and everybody in Providence ought to have it, it seems to me. We'll follow up with him on the radio soon, hopefully, weekdays 3 to 6. And of course, we'll talk to you next week. Happy Easter and Passover.